Welcome back to Sister to Sister.
The camera's rolling. Oh my god. Assalamu alaikum, guys. So I'm Aisha.
And I'm Amina.
Podcast created for sisters with sisters in mind.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Sister to Sister. We have just finished recording today's episode, subhanAllah. It was a very different episode. We actually got quite emotional, didn't we?
Yeah, it was definitely emotional. I feel like this is one of the more beneficial conversations that we've had, inshallah. And I do pray that people take away, a lot of benefit from this conversation, just simply because we've got a lot of problems in our ummah. And in order for us to actually start to implement the solutions, unless we start admitting certain things and being honest about certain things, we're not going to get nowhere,
Yeah. It's always interesting to hear people's stories, but not just to hear stories just for, okay, that was a nice story or that story was emotional, but also of where the story is now taking that person. And Umm Tamim, subhanAllah, she shows so much courage and so much strength, but so much reliance in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And her message, her message and what she's now trying to do in spreading awareness and bringing awareness to communities, I think that is the side of it that we were kind of looking towards. But then the tawakkul in Allah as well. This episode was definitely probably my favorite episode, honestly.
We can all learn a lot from the sister's level of tawakkul. And may Allah just continue to reward her and bless her. Because I just feel like she already has been in so many ways.
Inspiration, mashallah. So without further ado, guys, let's get into this episode. We are with our dear sister Umm Tamim. Assalamu alaikum. Lovely to have you.
Nice
to see you guys.
Do you know what I love about? Do you know what I was going to say? Do you know what I love about meeting you? This is just the first time we've met.
I know.
You've just come all the way down to our makeshift studio.
Of course.
And it was just effortless.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Jazakallah khairan for joining us.
So thank you for having
pleasure.
me. Alhamdulillah. It's really a pleasure meeting you guys, and you're doing really well. I'm so proud of you guys.
Jazakallah khairan.
Alhamdulillah. So I must say that your story, I saw it on the bridge with Abdul Latif and Imam Shakil, and honestly, your story, I think the first thing that stood out for me is your courage. It was very close after the death of your son, which we're going to get into. But for me, it was striking, about it. Your courage in talking about such a, deep and very, very sad and traumatic experience that you went through, which we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about your story.
Not just your courage though, your composure.
Right.
Your composure, because I think you were just so
together.
MashaAllah, Allahumma barik.
Which is I think it's just when the hardship comes to me, I'm always calm. And I'm always like, it's something that comes on my mind every day, like, you know what, Allah is testing you. Stay calm. Don't disappoint. He's watching. And obviously I'm in pain. It's a trial. It's just this dunya, we just have to go through things. It's not easy. It's not gonna be easy. But you have to be cautious every time. Like, you know what, Allah is testing you. Stay calm and try to be positive.
So I know on the bridge you spoke about quite a lot, and obviously you gave them an introduction to yourself. Just for our viewers as well, just give us a little bit of a background on yourself. Where were you born? You came here. What age did you come here? How was that for you?
I'm from Central Africa, now it's East Africa. I grew up in Burundi, and I came here when I was like 15, 16.
To UK?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So that's where it all started. My new life started again. I came here as a refugee. Yeah, so and then I got married early. I had 3 boys. And then I'm lucky, I'm a divorcee now, and I've got 2 boys. So one of them who is Tamim, who passed away 2021, July. So I still got, alhamdulillah, 2 boys.
And so I can only imagine. So I mean, your story, you were talking to us just now, and you travelled from country to country. Finally, you know, you got to the UK, and you know, we misunderstand what it's like for refugees. It's not easy coming here as a refugee, is it? And then obviously you've gone for a marriage, you've gone for a divorce. So Allah's testing you. You and subhanAllah, you're still keeping your faith. And
I try. I don't know how. I try.
May Allah reward you for the effort of trying, you know. And then, you know, July 2021. Like what Tamim? Let's talk about Tamim a little bit. What was Tamim like before we talk about what happened?
I love that question. It's just I feel proud. Talking about him, like he was handsome, mashallah, and really he was kind of mommy's boy. I used to just look at him like, you know, I'm so lucky. But then again, I'm like, is he really gonna live? He's so good. So there's things that in my country saying like, oh my God, good people don't live longer. And I always had that fear about him. He can do a mistake, but when he remembered that, oh, mommy will be disappointed, he will be so down. He always wanted to please me. And he really started like fasting so early. For him, it wasn't like my other 2 boys, like I had to push them and everything. You tell him like, you know, Salah is 5 days, if I five times a day, he's gonna do it on time. And he used to annoy me because I wanted him to be like our leader on Salah, and like, you taking long, I'm going to pray. So he's gonna pray on his own, and he started to fast really early. And even though like it's in summer, he just didn't want to take a break. So he was really good, and he was a good friend. He was a good brother. He just didn't like problems. He's gonna just live his life like, okay, be happy. He was that kind of boy.
And he was 15?
He just turned 15 2 months before. Because he was born in May the 6th.
So that's phenomenal, subhanAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
Because 15, praying 5 times a day. We're in the West. We're in, and you're from London, and in London there's a lot of push and pull. So the pull of the family, let's, you know, practice Islam, and the push of the streets, and you know, your surroundings, and not just the streets, but also your peers, you know, that are not, you know, Muslim, or that are not practicing Islam. So, you know, 15 or before 15, in his childhood, he's still choosing to, you know, even getting on to you about Salah, like, come on, mommy, it's time to go.
Like, so they're like, giving me a minute. You know, well, let me just, they are done finish. Well, if you're not coming, I'm gonna pay on my own, because I wanted him to just lead his brothers and me, and you know, as a family, especially Maghrib, because they come, you know, like Dhuhr and Asr, sometimes they are still at school. Depend with the weather. So, mashallah, he was really good.
So you've spoken about his qualities as like a Muslim, and like a friend, but what were his qualities as, you know, what was he like as a person? His character. Because
he sounds like he was very patient. Very calm.
You know what? I never knew how much he was good, because he was with me too much, maybe I would say, because he never just went like outside, like there was a party, I'm going. He was always doing things together. So, but after school, because that's when I started to just let him come on his own, because he's 15. I'm like, everyone is like, no, you just leave him like with his friends. And then after that, that's how I knew that I really had a good son.
Watching you talking about him, you know, I can see the bond that you had with your son. I think it's not it's sad to say because not every parent has this kind of bond with their
Of
child,
course,
right? And we're coming from a generation where, you know, our parents had, you know, very distant kind of many of us, should I say, have very distant relationships with our parents and weren't able to have conversations or even just have that kind of, you know, loving relationship with the parent the way it seems like you had with Tamim and with your other boys, I'm going to assume as well, alhamdulillah. And it must be just hard just to, you know, not to see all of those friends, see all of those people that have got so much good things to say about him and not imagine what he would be like now.
Yeah.
And each day that passes, you know, that must be hard. And I just think when I'm looking at you speaking, I'm just like, subhanallah, like the resilience. May Allah continue to preserve that resilience within you, because I know that can't be easy.
I'm getting emotional. I don't even have children.
I understand.
It's like,
I think it just takes like to be a human. Like if I was her, you know, and but also maybe Allah chose me because Allah knows maybe she's the one who can handle it. Allah doesn't give you something that you cannot handle. He's always gonna be there. It's really hard to accept that, but that's how it is. It doesn't mean that I don't struggle. It doesn't mean that I don't cry. It doesn't mean that, like every day, there's no 5 minutes that goes by. It's a year and a few months now that I don't think about him. But I think good things, and I'm like, you know what? Nah, there must be why Allah done that. Yeah, maybe there is kids who need to be saved from this. Maybe there is parents who need to learn from this. Maybe there is a reason. Maybe there is just a reason. You know, I have to find that reason. So Allah guide me. You know, I don't know which way, but you guide me. You know, I will have to do my part. We're here for a reason. We're here to do something. Each one of us, and maybe this is how it's supposed to be. You know, but there is always a barakah into something. Yeah, that's it.
And I you know, it's true, because we're offering you praise and we're saying, oh, you know, you're strong, you're courageous, I'm about it. But at the same time, it's faith. It's trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, you know what, Allah wouldn't burden me with more than I can handle, and there must be a reason within Allah's hikmah that I'm going through this. So I wanted to kind of go back, because we're kind of talking about the fact that he's passed, but we haven't actually touched on it's already very weighty, because we already kind of know. But what happened?
I just remember that was the first day he went to school without telling me that he loved me. It was on Monday, and then I had a friend who came to have a sleepover, and she didn't see him for a long time. And I'm like, oh my God, he's got a big voice now. He's really tall. And then he just came to my room, like asking for a lotion, because I was telling him like, oh, your skin is not really good, because I used to just check on him every time. And then I said that we have to change, you know, your lotion. And he's like, okay then. But that morning though, then just he came and he took the lotion. And I was like, wow, the skin changed. He looks so handsome. And I didn't tell him that. And somehow, for a few minutes with my friend and other kids, and I'm like, oh, hang on a minute, I don't know if Tamim is gone. And I just went downstairs and he was gone. I'm like, oh, he didn't say goodbye. That's weird. But then again, I had an appointment somehow. And I told him the night before that I'm not going to pick you up today. You come on your own, because I've got somewhere else to go. And then it was an appointment.
How common was that you didn't pick him up?
Because I had an appointment.
Did you generally pick him up?
Yeah, but I was starting to just like
ease off a little bit.
Twice a week, something like that. Yeah, and he really loved it because he can just come with his friend, and I could see how he loves it. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just leave him to. He's 15 years old. Yeah. Other kids are so younger and they come on.
Yeah, they have that bit of freedom and give him that trust.
So then, I ended up not going to the appointment, and I was just sitting in my bed, and then my son, the middle one, called me like, oh, there's a boy called I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name, but Malik. Like, he's downstairs. Who's Malik? And then he said, like, Tamim's friend. And when I went to the door, I remember I was on the phone with my auntie. And then I went on my door, I was like, Auntie, wait. And then I said, you alright? But I could see like the fear, the eyes and everything. He's like, oh, hi, Tamim was stabbed. I said, like, Auntie, Tamim was stabbed. Did you hear that? And she's like, whoa, whoa. And I just hang up. I'm like, where is it? In Woolwich. Okay. Straight away in my head, I was like, okay, let's go to Queen Elizabeth. That's a local hospital. And I went there. It was those days of COVID, you know, so it was not easy to get in there. So I went to the emergency and I asked. I could see the lady that she got no idea that there was someone who was stabbed.
Yeah.
But on my way there, I called two people, Tamim's auntie from his dad's side, and my neighbor who's happened to be from my country. And then I said, like, I'm going to Queen Elizabeth, Tamim was stabbed. And then she started screaming and I just cut the phone. Because the boy, I told him, like, listen, take my phone, yeah? It's on Bluetooth. If I tell you this name, you call it. So I can just speak to them. And then I was there.
You say, I mean, you're hearing your son's got stabbed. Yeah. It's like you're going into some sort of autopilot. Yeah. You didn't react, you wasn't upset, you just...
I'm
not upset because
obviously I understand what you mean, like a shock or something.
Yeah.
I just I think alhamdulillah I'm blessed when it's really a real problem.
Right.
I'm always like calm. Yeah. I'm gonna see everyone reacting, and then I'm not gonna react. I have to do what I have to do in that moment, and then I'm gonna reflect after on everything on my own, and then I'll cry, I'll scream. That's how I am. I don't know. Yeah. So I went. And then I could see like the lady doesn't know what I'm talking about. But my mind was like, I don't think time is here. And then they said that you have to wait. There's a big queue and then we're going to get back to you. And I waited, but I could see like so many messages on my phone. Then I can't see it. I see the videos, the messages. People who doesn't call me, they are calling me. I just can't right now. I just need to focus with this. And the network wasn't really good. So, and then the boy, I asked him like, where is he? He just said like in words. You could see like he's really struggling. And every time I remember the boy's face, I feel so bad because coming to tell the mother, yourself is your friend, you're struggling with that, and coming to tell the mom, it must be difficult for him. Then I said like, how did you know it? And there was a video. Video? Which video? And then let me see. Oh, the battery's dead. And then I just checked my phone. And then a daughter of the lady that was my neighbor, I asked her, can you, do you have the video? And I said, yes. I said, can you show me? Send it to me. I said, how are you sure? I said, yes, send it to me. Are you sure? She just asked me a photo. I said, you send it to me. And then she sent it to me. And I could see my son on the floor, on the pavement. And I felt so sad, like he's on his own. But then again, when it was kind of a few seconds, and when I saw the eyes, I was like, you know what? I think my son is gone. Yeah. And I couldn't finish. I couldn't even like take 1 minute to watch it because it was like I could hear voices. Oh my God, he's gone, like that. And somehow I remember there was a Muslim because he was like, Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un, screaming like that. But I couldn't continue. And I felt so my son is on his own. And I remember there was a little rain. And I'm like, so he was on his own. I struggle with that a lot. And maybe he was scared. Strangers with him. And I felt so sorry for him. Maybe he wanted his mommy there. That, seriously, that killed me every time. But then, alhamdulillah, I spoke to someone and he said, listen, you don't even think about that. Angels was with him. He's a shaheed. And when I heard about that, I felt so relieved because every time I thought about that, but still I'm just his mom, you're supposed to be there, you know. But I'm like, he was protected by angels, he was with them, he's a shaheed, he's young, his life is taken, you know. So Alhamdulillah. So that was like, then I couldn't finish it, and then I just had to stand there for another half an hour, no news, and then I saw two police officers. I'm like, you know what? Let me just go and ask them. And then I asked them this. They asked me about the description, the pictures. I did show them, and the way they looked at me before even saying anything, my friend was on the floor already. She knew. She could see, like, apparently she saw that. Yeah, it's him. You know. So they told me, I don't remember. I remember that they told me that he passed away. That's it. But I don't remember the time. I don't remember anything. Yeah. And I was like, okay, can you just help me? This lady was on the floor, so I can go home. So what? How are you going home? I said, well, I'm driving. And they said, no, you can't drive. I said, yeah, I will drive. And then they said, no, you cannot drive. And then they just took my car keys, and then they asked me for the address. And the boy, he was with me, and we went home. But nearly my way home, I saw so many people. Something is going on in this wood. Then they're on my door. Do they know anything? What's going on? Because I really thought I'm the first person to know this. So I figured that the video went viral. They knew way before me. People from Africa knew. In America, the people that I know there, you know, and I'm like, wow, the power of social media, you know, in a good way and a bad way as well. So I just went home, and then people are crying, seeing me, no tears. But I remember at the hospital, when I saw the eyes, I cried a little bit.
And you saw him?
Yeah, I said, SubhanAllah, I think my son has passed away. That's why I was like, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. See, it's just you took him away from me. You have to give me strength. I know you will give me strength, but I'm asking you to give me strength. I need to raise my voice. I need to live life. I need to continue. I cannot do this without you. And I know you're listening to me. I know you can hear. I know you will do it, please. You know? But I wasn't too sure, but I was making that dua. But because that instinct, like the way that I see the eyes and everything, I think my son is gone. And then I just went home, and I had my wudu, and I just went on my mat prayer. There were so many people in the sitting room, upstairs, on the stairs, everywhere. And then I just started praying, and I remember the lady asked me, can I pray with you? She's a Muslim, so she doesn't know that. She just don't need to ask me when I'm praying. And I continued, and then she was doing what I was doing while I prayed. And I finished, I sat down a little bit. I'm like, wow, Tamim is dead. My son is gone. My firstborn, the one we're supposed to do things. And I remember Friday, because he passed away Monday, Friday, we had a long, deep conversation about life. About how I'm so proud of him. About, listen, you and I, we're going to make sure your brothers are doing good. We're going to make sure that you are a good boy. We're going to make sure you go far, you know? You just next year do your GCSE. Because of what? He just gave me a no, a positive no. And he knew that mommy will love that. I said, you don't need to do things that big. Just slowly. You know what I mean? And then he just like, I know. I said, listen, you don't know how good you are. You don't know how proud I am being your mom, my Tamim. And she was like, okay then, okay. And I said that, listen, after GCSE, I'm buying you a car, you know? But inshallah, December we're going Umrah. We was talking, the Friday was like long, deep, last conversation, you know? So we're supposed to go to Umrah together. So then people really couldn't understand the way I'm just there, and everyone was in pieces, and people was worried that she's not crying, that's not normal. I knew I would cry. That was the first time ever in my life I lost, you know, I couldn't sleep for the first night. But the second night I was sleeping, people was like, oh, you need to go to the doctors. You need to just have sleeping pills. I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. But I will sleep. It's just the first night was really hard because I didn't know where my son was. Because I couldn't find where exactly, because I need to see him at least, but I couldn't see him. Where is he? Is he in mortuary? Where is he? What kind of mortuary? What kind of state is he in? So I had those questions like, I'm sleeping, how am I supposed to sleep not knowing where my son is? So that was really hard on me. So I remember one of my friends, she was sleeping, like, you have to sleep. I said, I can't. And then she just wake up early morning, give me just hot milk and everything. Alhamdulillah, I had people who was kind of looking after me. But then again, they was worried because so many people knew the relationship I had with Tamim. So it was kind of really hard, and it did hit people hard, yeah.
Yeah, that's you know, for us obviously listening, and you know, for the people that are gonna watch this back, it's just amazing what Allah can do. Like that's just what's in my head the whole time. Like, if you wasn't Muslim, I just don't think I would see you sitting here, and I don't think that experience that you went through, you would have been able to. Like, you've driven home, you sat on the prayer mat, you're asking Allah for strength, and I just think only Allah can do that, because we know that you're in pain, we know that you're hurting, we know how close you were, but you're still, like, somehow Allah's just guiding you through it and giving you that strength. And
alhamdulillah, I'm really thankful because this is a big experience. I just don't, I really won't wish it for anyone. You know, it's just really hard. And I kind of had like different hardship, like losing a mom, a father, siblings, so many siblings, but
different, right?
It's so different when it comes to your own kids. You know, this is my son and it's my firstborn. It's just like you always want the world for your son, and like especially the firstborn, you always feel like if he's good and others have the chance to be good, you know, and especially when you're raising them on your own and you feel like, you know what, I have to make sure he's a good example. I have to make sure to check myself 10 times a day to be good so he can be good. And you know, like somehow, mashallah, the bond of a mother and the son is just like special somehow. And
you know what is just so beautiful, because like you said, Aisha, you know, just listening to you, it does really make you appreciate what Allah gives us. As a mother myself, you know, when you're talking, I'm putting myself in your shoes. Like, it's not even, it's just happens. I'm picturing myself doing what you're doing. And all the way up until when you was talking about the conversation that you had with him the Friday before, I was when I started to get emotional. Because it's like, I know that conversation. I've had it with my son, with my children, all three of them. And I could just imagine you at that moment talking, and then you're, you know, then afterwards you're now like going back to that moment in your head, like, we can't even, all these plans, we can't even. You know?
But it's good because I feel like that's the last thing that he's going with, a good conversation with his mom.
That was
He's got my blessing.
That was what I was gonna say. It's like Allah's
I feel good about that.
Taken him at a point in his life where, subhanallah, like, he's 15, he's praying his salah, he's fasting, he's doing all these things, and we ask Allah all the time, Allah, don't take me until you're pleased with me. You know, and no, the way that he passed wasn't, you know, a nice way to go, but like the brother said, he's a shaheed, and Allah's given him that opportunity to enter. May Allah grant
and the thing is that, can you imagine that you've got your own son, knowing that he might just be there, you know, being your the voice, for you to enter Jannah. So that makes me, those things that are the ones that keeps me going. You know, although I'm just like somehow in pieces sometimes, but I always remember that, you know, who am I kidding? You know, he's watching like, Mom, are you crazy? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think like that. And then I just feel, you know what, let me just pick up myself. My kids need me. To love, because he was kind of a big brother, but
and now he's
way
always
more
gonna
than a
be-
big brother. I'm like, calm down, mate. They're your brothers. No, you are not the dad.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
because
just taking
he's just
over,
like,
yeah.
he used to protect them and want to just direct them along. Like, listen, you're such a kid as well. You know, do what you can, but don't overdo things. Yeah.
No,
So
that's
he
fucking mad.
just a shaheed, alhamdulillah. So people think that I'm broken. They don't know what to say to me. If I was Hawa, you know, but you're not me.
Yeah.
But then again, just treat me normal, you know. I've got my days, and it's just that's life. Yeah, you're not gonna stay here forever, you know. Yes,
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
a nice way to go, which is a nice way to go anyway.
Which is a nice way to go.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but it's that thing about it's a shock. You wasn't expecting it,
Yeah.
but
I think that there is a big difference.
Yes.
There is a big
Yeah.
difference. And I think, you know, we're sitting here and we're like, don't even have any children, and I'm, you know, trying to imagine. But again, your test is your test, and
Yes.
Allah
yeah,
knew what you could handle, and only Allah knows why. We'll find out one day why,
This is it.
you know, he was taken in that way and at that time.
yeah,
And I want to talk about that because, you know, the reason we invited you on is because this is an issue, right? This issue of knife crime. And Tamim, you know, may Allah have mercy on him and grant him Jannah, was not in a gang. He wasn't on the streets. He was nothing to do with that life, yet his life was taken by somebody else for whatever reason, and we can't go into that. But what we want to talk about is what can we be doing as a community, because that shouldn't have happened in terms of it's happening a lot, not just to Tamim, but
be
the
way
knives,
before him,
right?
and
You know,
after him,
exactly. So we kind of want to look and talk more into that. Like, what should we be doing as a community? You know, what can the sisters do? What should the brothers do as men? Because you always said you was a single mother raising your children. Amina, you know, same thing, single mother raising particularly black boys. And this is very different to girls. It's very different to, you know, boys that are not of colour. It's a very different experience.
You know what? I just wish we could study this, you know, as a community, because people have no idea. You know, you're just like, oh, we heard. Let's say that Tamim was stabbed.
Okay.
When is the funeral? We're going to bury him, and then that's it. That's not how it's supposed to be. You know, you bury him, yes, Qadar Allah. That's his way of going. But what are you gonna do about
Now
it?
what?
And that's the thing that hurts me.
Yeah.
That gives me no hope at all, because I'm dealing with so many things at the moment. I'm dealing with seeing our communities want to know what's going on, but judging, you know, showing you how you should feel, you know, why are you doing what you're doing, questioning it. But the thing is that you are someone that Allah created in this world, not just to become like going to work and come back home or being like a tree. No, you just have to do something, you know. You always have to do something. You are responsible. We are responsible
For one another.
and everything. But the thing is that yes, I wasn't like this before because I wasn't aware. But let's say like it's happening to me, and you know me, I'm close to you. Why can't you just sit down and like, if I was Hawa, because it happened to Hawa, our Tamim, one of us, what can we do? But those questions aren't there. They're just focusing with like, oh, come on, we already buried him. You know, she just need to calm down now. You know, what is she gonna achieve? Are you serious? That is a big problem. That is scary. You know, seeing people that I don't know, people who are not Muslim, you know, supporting me the way they supported me, the way they still support me, the way they still, are you okay, sis? We just became sisters, you know, because of Tamim, because of the campaign, because, you know, just raising my voice. I feel bad that in our communities, I don't get that. Yeah. And I just decided to feel, you know what, let me just do what I have to do with the people that want to be part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe one day. I'm not wishing for them to be like in my situation,
Of course.
but one of them will understand one day. Yeah, but they don't ask. Some people are messaging me like, "Oh, you just have to accept that your son is gone. You know, stop doing this." Sometimes they think it's haram. I'm like, listen, it's fine. Okay, I got a big mouth. I always respond to negativity, backlashes, but I feel sorry. And this Tamim's experience, I think it changed me. Yeah, I feel like, you know what, people, you don't need to respond to anything.
Yeah.
Just do you. Am I doing the right thing here? Yes, I am. You know, am I doing something that can help my friend's kid or the kid that I don't know?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you wanna just judge me and send me messages, that's okay. I'm not gonna respond. Yeah, and I'm like, okay. If I just even give you that time, I'm like, okay, you pray for me. Allah so can guide me. That's all. I don't have time to just like, no,
Energy.
no
isn't
way, no. And it's really sad. So are we here to just bury people and go to the wedding? And that's life? Life is way more than that. You know, but people don't understand. And when you try so hard to just raise your voice so you can just speak to them about anything, that here she comes, she thinks she's all of that. You know what I mean? And you know what? If it's that kind of energy, let me find people who understand. You know, who knows even more than me. I can just learn from them so we can take care of each other in our community who don't want to understand. Yeah,
It's interesting that you said
Yeah.
that. I know you've got a point, Amina, but it's interesting that you said that it's kind of almost like if it doesn't happen to you, then it's not happening.
Yeah.
You know, or if it doesn't happen to, if you don't go through that experience, it's somehow brushed under the carpet, and you know, then the religion is almost used to kind of say, just sit down over there and be quiet.
And I feel bad
But
because Islam is not that.
This is a big problem in the Muslim community and the wider community.
We had activists.
Yeah.
We had activists in let's say those people who way before us. You know, who was with the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So if let's say I'm a campaigner or activist, what's wrong with that? You know, me being there saying like, no, this shouldn't
be happening.
Yeah, we need to protect our kids, our young people, you know what I mean? I don't think it's bad. This is ibadah. This is dawah.
It's tying your camel, isn't it? Because this is it. Like tying your camel is just not about, you know, looking for your career options and all these things. It's about doing what you can to prevent and to stop and to help and to put yourself to use in your community as an ummah.
Yeah.
You know, especially like you said within the Muslim community. I think there's a couple of factors though. You know, like I think culturally there's things that stop people kind of recognizing a problem and looking at the dynamics of a problem or the factors that are impacting the problem, and they want to blame other things, for example social media, music, outside, and then expect that a solution is just going to come from maybe the government, because this is what I hear, and this is what I think within a lot of the community circles, because before, like,
it's not
example,
our problem, it's their problem.
Yeah. Like before, when I was like, you know, my ex-husband, he was a youth worker, so I was in a few of these community circles, and you're very right, within the non-Muslim community there's a lot going on, but within the Muslim community I feel like there's not enough happening, and it's almost like you said, it's their problem, not ours. It's not happening to us. It's like there's this ignorance that it's not happening within the Muslim community as well,
which is ridiculous.
So why are we not doing something? Why are we not contacting these non-Muslim agencies, these grassroots organizations, finding out what they're doing, finding out what works, and trying to implement similar solutions within the Muslim community?
There's a few, because we don't want to discredit it. Like, you know, some of the people that I've seen Dawah Man do bits and pieces, like, you know, I think he did like the Drop Your Knife campaign in one of the things. You've got the Brixton community guys, they try to do insight into Islam and Medina College. But I mean, like counting them on a couple of fingers is where
And
it's
when I
like
say- and
very
when I say-
disappointing.
When
you
I
know?
say doing anything, right, because you've got to remember that I personally, this is just my opinion from my observation, right? I feel like there's a huge disconnect because of the fact that a lot of the youth clubs and everything were taken out like years ago now. We're talking about years ago. There's been such a gap where social media has just come all the way in and taken the place of these other distractions, these outside activities that would once upon a time be, you know, a natural
the only thing
that
they could go
that youth would go and do. And it's like this social media and all these other things, music has come and taken the place of those activities. Kids are drawn to certain things now, and the disconnect is there. So it's like, all right, so people will say, all right, so let's find activities for the kids to do this, put these things to the kids are not interested. So how do we re-establish that connection and then keep it within Islam as well? Because alhamdulillah, your son Tamim was blessed to be able to have, you know, that connection with Allah, and that's obviously because of what you've instilled in him and his brothers. SubhanAllah. I'm not going to say most, but a lot of the teenagers, it's up and down for them. Of course, you know, it's very up and down, and like you said, the push and pull of being drawn into certain lifestyles is there because of why the glamorization of you know, different things, clothing, money, you know, all of that attraction. And Allah tells us, you know, the dunya will be an attraction. Like all these things will be an attraction for you, and it's going to take you to obviously the hellfire in, you know, that hadith. And Jannah doesn't look as attractive because all the things that are surrounding Jannah are not the same things. It's difficult things to attain. So, you know, being able to have that connection with the children, with the teenagers, and, you know, help them to establish that iman. It's hard enough for us as adults, for a lot of adults to keep that balance with their iman. So imagine for a majority of these children, and then what they're facing or what they feel like they're facing. It's almost like they've created this environment themselves, because now all I'm hearing is this. It's like fear is driving them to carry knives, carry all these things, because really and truly, this word gang, none of them ain't gangs. They've just got their groups of friends. They've just got their groups of friends, and some of them are just bad groups of friends, you know? You get into bad company. It's not necessarily gangs. We don't have Bloods and Crips over here. Yeah, you've got all these postcodes, and I live in Selhurst. We live in Selhurst, or we're from this estate, Angel Town, or whatever not. But it's not really that. They're just groups of friends. And it's taken out of context. The media like blows it up, and then, you know, they're still seeing that. They're seeing it, walking with it every day. Videos like what, you know, like yourself with Tamim. Those videos come into their phone. It's like constant. It's like constant active trauma that they're going through, and their reaction is, well, I have to be ready. I have to be prepared. I have to carry. And then it's like a knock-on effect.
Do we think? Because I wanted to ask a question in regards to that. Do we think that there's enough black Muslim male role models? Because if you're thinking about like the representation in music and things like that, like you said earlier, they're seeing themselves in that rapper, and then they're seeing the success, the money, the fame. But what I'm not seeing is positive Muslim black role models that they can at least look up to and aspire to on social media. I don't see much of that.
There isn't enough.
I don't think there is enough, but the thing is that as you were saying earlier about it's at a home, first of all, you know. Okay, sometimes people divorce, sometimes, you know, parents die, you know. But also, if things happens, you know, it's good, alhamdulillah, to have a father. It's good to have someone to be, you know, a male figure. These kids need that, you know. But how many are there? This is the thing about communities. What we're talking right now, how many people do you think they understand this? It's not right. You know, that's the problem already. So we shouldn't just go like, oh, the police. Yes, of course, the police is doing something really, really bad at the moment, like searching and there's nothing wrong with searching someone, but it depends how you search. You know,
Yeah.
just treat him as a kid.
Treat them as a
You know,
human being.
as a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw all of that, but also deep down we know, in our communities, how many people just want to know how these young kids are living
and
life.
that's what we're talking
You know?
about. It's the quality of the relationships.
Yeah,
because
and then again, there is this thing about I just feel sorry to these teenager boys.
You're right. Because
Listen.
it's so much before you even, when you step
It's just
outside the
pressure.
door,
It's
there's a whole
pressure,
lot of
and
things.
then again, in this country there is so many coaches. There is so many race and cultures, and you know, wanna be fit in.
yeah.
You know, it's really hard for them.
Yeah.
But what as a parent, you have to have those kind of conversation with your kid. At the end of the day, sometimes like, oh, mom is nagging, but it's gonna be there. It's gonna stay somewhere in his brain. You know, you just talk to your son and make dua for them. You know, that's all. That's
But
what you can do.
Do you think like, I know that for you that was enough.
I don't
But
think
do
it
you
was
think-
enough because
Well,
he's just a boy. He was being silly as well somehow. You know, he wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes he could just go like, just play,
But
fight, and everything.
When
with
when
others.
I say that was enough, what I mean is he was still doing his salah.
Yeah.
He was a good boy. He didn't get involved in but for a lot of parents, what we're finding in the communities is that that's not enough, because there's a lot of I don't want to use the term broken homes, but homes where the parents are separate, and if the dad's not in the home, we've seen all these statistics about how difficult it is to then maintain a stable family household.
It's not everyone who's a parent.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you can just make babies and everything, but it's not in you.
But this is
to
why I
be
was
a-
talking about
a
the
parent.
role models in
Yeah.
the community. Like, as a community, we're
Yes.
supposed
Well,
to be
The thing is
supporting.
that we just don't love each other enough, because people have got so many kids who are in trouble, who are not behaving maybe as they should,
and they're on their own.
and they just covering it.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it because they don't want to
talk
be
about it.
judged.
Now this is what I'm saying, because it, you know, as a community, what we're not addressing, I think, is the fact that yes, all right, so we know there's divorces happen. We know that people are separated, and mothers are raising their sons, their kids on their own. The fathers not being in the home, like you just said, is a huge issue. Not just for the boys, for the girls as well. But for the boys, the impact that it's having is not addressed properly. Because when I say, like earlier I said, it's the quality of the relationships. Because you're right, before we look at the community and all the activities and all these things that we should have in place on the outside, what's going on within the family circles?
Yeah.
So that person might have uncles, that child might have uncles, they might have their father in their life, they might have their father even living at home, but they have that quality of relationship with their father, that they can have conversations, that their father does activities with them, that they carry them to certain things, that, you know, go and sit with the brothers, do these things. What about their uncles? Do their uncles take any time, like you said, to ask these kids how they're doing? Do they actually know them? Do they have relationships? Does anyone have relationships anymore with their family members? I'm just gonna be frank, within my own family circle, my son, I don't feel like he has that connection with anyone strong enough. Alhamdulillah, yes, his dad is around and they have a good relationship, but because he doesn't live in the family home, the dynamic is very different. We are not together, so they're not together.
Yes, they're not together.
Do you know what I mean? The relationship is so different to how it possibly could have been if he lived in the home. But you know, that's it's not going to happen. He's not Muslim, we're not going to be married. It's not, so we co-parent, which alhamdulillah works, and we have a good enough co-parent relationship, but there's still that lack, there's still something missing. And then with the other male adults that are around him, he doesn't have that relationship with them. He can't go and talk to them about what's happening. He can't go and talk to them about, you know, what he's worried about. And
But
no
this
one
is-
comes and takes him and does anything with him. So naturally, you as a human being, everybody is looking for belonging. Everybody is looking for loving and belonging. And when you go out there, you find friends who you can attach yourself to,
Mm.
friends that you build that relationship with, friends that you have that love with. It's a different type of love.
But this is why I'm talking about role models that are older, that understand the lifestyle, that understand the streets, that understand what you go through as a black man living, and are able to have that social and empathic connection that they can build a relationship with. Because let's be quite honest, some dads, some uncles, some cousins, some are not equipped. So, and that's always going to be the case, because they're not going to take accountability, they're not going to heal from whatever situation they've gone through, and they're not equipped. So because they're not equipped, and there is a massive problem with either, you know, knife crime, gun crime, street police, you know, being a black boy living in the UK, there needs to be Muslim organisations, charities, men that take that role. The same as the imams need to take the role in certain things within the community. There needs to be that as well, because you can't just solely rely on a dad that doesn't understand, or an uncle that, you know, hasn't got the time or isn't equipped to have those conversations, or, you know, that they don't have that respect for, or is not, you know, that isn't doing the kind of things with his life that you can look up and think, oh yeah,
I'd like to do that.
No, I'd like to be like that
This
person.
is the thing, like, it's because what we see is a lot of the sisters, you know, when in general, when it comes to things going on in the community, the sisters are kind of like doing a lot of stuff. I'm not saying the brothers don't do nothing, the brothers are doing their thing. When it comes to the youngers, when it comes to the youth, it's just mainly sisters. Now, one thing that I think we can all agree on is that there is not a woman on the planet that can teach a man, teach a boy how to be a man. Not one of us.
And there's not a lot, and there's a lot of men that can't teach a boy how to be a man.
Yeah, the thing is that we parents, you know, but you can understand, I'm sure, is that sometimes if I can't find that in my home, I go out and try, because at the end of the day, we've got friends, you know. Well, you can go to someone and see that, oh, mashallah, I love the way they're raising their kids. I love that. So I just have to make sure I take my kids there to learn one thing or two, because I've got no other choice. I can't be a man. You know, what I want for my son is what they have. And listen, I'm going to make sure I tell them, you know, because this is what I've got. I don't have anything else. If I see like a home that I feel like there's nothing I want for me or my son, I'm not going. I'm not taking my son. That's what I do, because at the end of the day, you have to find a way.
But what
of
if you
walking
can't find
if it's
that?
broken.
What if you can't find that though? What if you're, you know, a parent that has sons and you don't have access, because a lot of the time we don't mix with, you know, a sister's husband, so we wouldn't even know like how he is, or you know, if he's the type of person to bring around the sons. So how are you going to know? That's why I think it should be community wide, where there's a place, where there's a channel, where there's a charity that you can, you know, it's set up ready.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, we should just be vocal about that.
Yeah.
But also, before that happens, what can we do? Do you know what I mean?
I think you're right. It's
because we've got friends, like we talk, we sisters and everything. I come to your house, you come to mine. You know my situation. I know your situation. Even though you don't tell me everything, I don't tell you everything. That, you know, like, I have a son. He needs a man. You know, you are a good sister. You know, my son can come to you with your boys. You know, so he can go with your husband, your kids. You know, that I don't see the benefit of being friends if we cannot help each other. You know, so if someone who's just like, I can't get anything good from you, just apart from talking and gossiping, I just don't want to be friends, really. You know, and Allah will reward you for that. You know, and
so again, it puts it back on the sisters again. Then
this is the thing.
That's the thing.
It
this
brings
is
it
the
back to
situation.
that village mentality that's missing. But because this is mentioned all the time. Oh, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. But then it's like, we say it, but then we don't actually implement it. Because, like you said, it literally is about reaching out to those friends, connecting, making that happen. But like you just said, who's responsible for this then? Is it only ever going to be the sisters doing this? You know what? when I look at Imam Shakil was doing a lot in Lewisham Masjid. Every week I see, Alham Mubarak, I see a post every week of somebody taking their shahada without fail.
There's always been that.
And then every time they're taking a shahada, he's assigning them to somebody in the masjid. You're going to look after this person. You're going to, he
I
assigns
don't
them.
know, it's just gifted somehow.
Yeah,
but I don't know how he does it, because it's like, I'm no disrespect to other imams or sheikh, but come on, he's doing this for a long time. And guess what? There is something about that mosque. When I go there, you know, I feel belonging there.
That's what I always said.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I went to so many mosques, but I feel like, you know what, here, I feel like I'm a Muslim,
A sense of
like
community.
everyone else. There's not like, oh, she's Asian, she's Arab, or she's... No. I feel like everyone there is my sister. And I think it started from, you know, it's from the imam, the guidance,
the
you know?
leader.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Because that's what it. I mean, ultimately,
when
you speak, when you talk about community, there has to be a leader.
Yeah.
There has to be somebody that's the face of that community that, you know, delegates to what's the need in that community. And Imam Shakil, may Allah bless him and preserve him.
I mean,
he really understands the assignment.
He does.
You know what I
He
mean?
does.
And
the young in the way he talks to them, and they just engage when he talks and everything. I just feel like Allah gifted him with
what I see with him in particular is that he does actually take the time to get to know each and every individual. The amount of years he spent visiting the prisons and going to see the brothers who'd taken their shahada, become new Muslims in prison. He'd gone to actually show them consideration, caring, you know, all the characteristics of a Muslim, and that's what's, you know, kept them coming to him and kept that relationship with him. And because of that, it's that thing, it's that developing the relationships, it's that, you know, cultivating the Islam within the relationships, you know, that's what I feel is missing.
True.
That's what is missing. You can't just enforce Islam on these children without getting to know them. You know?
Yeah. No, you have to know them, and also you have to know the streets. You have to engage in every situation that you just have to know to understand. Because listen, so many moms, so many dads, they don't really understand.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, did you go to school? What time are you coming back? And then that's school. But there is life than school.
Yeah.
There is friends who is involved with, and what do you want? You know, like talk to them. They're not gonna tell you everything, as we were saying. You're not gonna tell your parents. We was those kids. We didn't tell our parents everything. But when they know that you're there for them, you're not judging them. You're not just being too strict in a way that it shouldn't. One way or another, they come back to you. Most of them are coming back to you. You can't say like it's gonna be all perfect. But as a parent, it's the amana. It's just like, this is our kids. We need to change the narrative. We need to change the way we was brought up, because those days are not these days, and we've got different cultures. I'm from East Africa, and the way you raise your kids there and here is different. So I'm not just gonna bring that into here. Because like, oh, these days, like, oh, this kid is trying to be bad, let me just take him back to Africa. You're just giving someone else to raise your kid. Your kid is Western. He doesn't know anything about that. Those people you are sending your son to, they know nothing about your son, the mindset and everything. They might abuse him. Who do you think could be more than you? I don't see it. Maybe it's a trust issue I've got, not because Tamim passed away. It's just the way I am since a long time ago. You know, I was, my mom didn't raise me until like I'm 16 and everything, but her best friend raised me, and she did a good job, alhamdulillah. But not everyone got that chance, you know, so you never know. I was lucky, but you will never know. So we have to just accept that, you know what, you having a kid is your responsibility. Blaming someone else or the government or police and whatever, it starts at home, you know, and the communities. We are Muslims, should look after each other. You know, like, oh, you've got problem, no judging, listen, and then is there something I can help? You help. If you can't, just find a imam, find someone, you know, just say, be humble, be a human. Stop just every time like it's haram. Everything is just you trying to blame people. That is not Islam. Sometimes like kids are behaving in sort of ways, maybe for cry for help.
Yeah.
It's not always like, oh, no, I just wanna. There is always a reason.
Yeah.
You know, who he's involved with. Maybe home. You know, he's not happy at home. There is so many reasons. So it's just like good to just make sure, reassure him.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe you know, like there is another mom who he can talk to that is your friend. You know, there is so many ways that you can try here. You're not always gonna be successful on that, but you try your best. And you know what, at the end of the day, our kids are the amana, but also our husbands, us, we are kind of try for each other somehow. It's just a struggle. So it is what it is. Yeah, and make dua.
Yeah, we definitely got some cycles to break.
I think like there's been a lot in this conversation to digest, and I think we've covered your story. We've covered what the problems are, some of the solutions, and even in the solutions, there's so much. Like the psychology of a child's brain, right? And then parenting and community and imams, and it's a lot to digest. And there's going to be people watching that this is going to be probably the first time they've really heard this type of conversation. And subhanallah, your strength and your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is probably one of the biggest things that I've taken from this. And Allah Mubarak, and that wasn't necessarily the point of the conversation. The point was to raise this awareness, to get people to open up their hearts and their minds and their ears and listen to this real problem that we have in today's society for specifically young black boys, but also young boys and young girls. It's a totally different issue, which maybe we can talk about on another day.
Yeah, and I think it's important to take whatever was benefited from this conversation and don't just leave it as a podcast that we've talked about. We now need to really start trying to implement ways of making the situation better. Yes, we know everything is qadar Allah, so what is written to happen is going to happen. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a duty of care towards each other
100%.
and towards how we could possibly try and change the narrative, change the situations, and implement solutions, real solutions. We have to listen. We have to listen to them. We have to understand their world is this small. We're looking at the world like this. We're seeing everything that's going on, and even then, some people ain't seeing everything that's going on. But the kids, their world is this. It's here. This is it. Do you know what I mean? So we have to be able to look through their lens, take off our lens for a minute and look through their lens and see the world how they see it, and have that patience with them. Subhanallah, that hadith about the first 7 years play with them, the next 7 years teach them, and then the last 7 years advise them.
I just think that when kids are babies, especially boys, they need their mummies, but there's that age, definitely there must be a man, and if the father is not, doesn't want to be a father, and then he just gonna meet Allah, and then he'll be asked all of that. But also you're not gonna wait until that day. You just have to do what you have to do. If you want to get married, and then I want a father figure for my kid, so be it. If I want my neighbor that I like, that we talk and I love the way they're raising their kids, they know I'm a single mom, they've got that ihsan and everything, why not just involving my son with them? I just have to know the right way, Islamic way, to not go through to the man because he's got a wife and everything, but we have to do what we have to do, really. We're just not gonna wait. But then again, as we say, that we just have to raise our voices and teach the community. Slowly, inshallah, we'll get there.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Well, I think that's a really good point to stop on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Jazakallah khair for joining us.
So much.
And I really hope that this conversation
Yeah,
can
inshallah,
benefit, you know, a
inshallah.
few people.
Yeah,
Inshallah.
definitely will. Inshallah, inshallah. Okay, shukran for having me.
Wow, subhanallah. That was definitely a fruitful conversation. And I think, oh my gosh, there's so many takeaways. So many takeaways. But for me, I think the main thing is always going to be that we really need to start looking at these relationships that we have in our community. Sisters are doing a lot, brothers are doing a lot, but we can all be doing so much more. And in regards to, in particular, single mothers raising children, whether the father is there or not, whether the father is in the children's lives in the home or not, if that relationship isn't solid, and actually this goes for with the mother as well, there needs to be so much more, you know, thought going into how we communicate with our children, how we communicate with other people's children, and how we actually really start getting this village back that we're always talking about.
Yeah. It was an emotional conversation, as you saw, and it was also a conversation that made me think about myself and what I can do.
Yeah.
And I think it just brought it back to the reality of why I founded Sister to Sister, because there's so many gaps in the Muslim community that we feel like we somehow shouldn't speak on issues, and that somehow we're going against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qadr by speaking on these issues, and that's not the case. And I love the fact that Tamim talks about her purpose now, you know, that this was something that happened to her, but this is something that she believed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested her with, not only because he knew that she could handle it, but because he understood that this was something this was a blessing for her, so that now she can come and use her voice to actually speak about these issues, bring it to the attention of the Muslim community and wider communities, and we can start to make steps towards making these changes.
It's a learning process all around, like across the board for everyone, right? Because again, coming back to the tests, within every single test is a lesson for that individual. And like obviously for Tamim, she's accepted the lesson, and she's, like Aisha just said, utilizing this situation for her purpose. You know, she's recognized a purpose out of this. And I suppose that's only going to come for each individual when we do. You know, the more you go through these tests, the more you actually see the lessons. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about myself, right? Yeah. And I'm thinking about, you know, the things that I've been through, and how every single time you recognize the lesson, it's like, subhanallah, Allah teaches us in the most beautiful ways, not just about ourselves, but about other people as well.
Yeah.
You know, and this is how we find the solutions, is through understanding those little nuances, understanding, just connecting the dots, But we have to have these conversations to do that. We actually have to, not just online. I'm talking about in our homes. I'm talking about with family members. I'm talking about really, you know, having these vulnerable conversations. It's not hard. It's not easy, to be honest about certain things.
Yeah.
It's just really not. But you see, when we start doing it, this is how we build. This is how we build between us. This is how we do it. Inshallah. Just pray Allah makes it easy for everyone. Ameen. Because it's not easy at all.
Ameen. So, thank you for watching, and we really hope that this episode was of benefit to you. Let us know in the comments what you think. We're going to also add in the comments Tamim's organisation that she's set up, and this is to support others that have gone through the difficulties that she's been through, and also to offer a place of support. So go ahead and support Tamim's legacy, and we will see you next time here on Sister to Sister, and
don't forget to like, comment and share and subscribe.
And subscribe.
That's all from us on another episode of Sister to Sister. We really appreciate all of the love, all of your messages and feedback. But until next time, be kind, as you never know what battle someone is facing.